Here's a funny question. Are men allowed to lay out in the sun and tan themselves? And I'll tell you why it's a funny question. Because one, uh, what does it matter if it's a man or a woman? And two, who gives a shit what you do? You can lay out in the sun or do whatever you want. Like, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Just trying to be funny right there. But got a real serious topic. It's spring. The weather's warming up. I love it. I had a good winter. It was fine, but man, I like spring, and I like most of summer. Not the hundreds, but yeah. Anyway, it was nice enough this last weekend where I could lay out on a lounge chair. It was like 70 degrees, which isn't warm, but where I was sitting, there was direct sunlight and no wind, and it was warm. And I took off my sweats, I took off my sweatshirt, I was in a t-shirt and shorts. Pretty soon, I took off the t-shirt, and I was just in shorts, and I was like, this is nice. I just was like soaking in the sun, feeling good, and had a little kiddie pool out there for my friend's dog. And she's got this big, beautiful black lab, and it was warm enough where she thought, let's put this kiddie pool out and let the dog play in it. And, black lab, water, doesn't need much of an invitation. He's playing in it. And then he goes and does his own thing and is running around the yard and finds some shade and plops down and has some toys and living his best life. And I'm laying there and eyes shut, eyes open, and my friend puts on this sprinkler that's an oscillating sprinkler that goes like, it looks like the Bellagio, but and sprinkles down. And it was kind of going over the pool. And so when it was coming on this side, it would start dripping onto the pool, and the water would dance and bounce and jiggle, and you'd see all the sparkles. And I was like, that looks really cool. I was just so relaxed, and I was like, the sparkles are really cool. And I was just in the moment, the sparkle moment. And I was like, this is really nice. And then I realized, it's just the sunlight reflecting from like the way, the angle of the water. And I'm probably seeing more than the white light. I'm probably seeing lots of little stuff. I noticed that, like, if I'm paying attention, I see more like of the prism light spectrum rainbowy look on reflective surfaces that I never noticed before. And I'm like, oh, is this what artists see? Do they see this stuff? Anyway, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, here on these little waves, on these little jiggles of water, is the sunlight just bouncing off and coming at me. And I understand the light is wavelengths. And I looked around at, and I'm like, I'm seeing light, and light is energy. And I know that they're saying like everything is really energy. And I was like, I wish I could see the energy. Like, when you see things through I've never looked through one, but like on TV, they show like the heat gun things that show the thermal. No, I have seen one in a warehouse. Yeah, it's trying to show like where heat was leaking into the warehouse to seal it. What are those called? Like a thermal camera. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I would love to see a camera that shows energies, like the energy. When I look around, like that brick, what energy is coming off of it or whatever, besides the light energy that's reflecting back. And so I'm sitting there like watching this, and then, like the sprinkler goes the other way, and the last drop hits. The water's still kind of moving, but it's not dancing anymore. And you can kind of see just a slight little color, no whatever. And then pretty soon it's calm again. It was just a little dance on the surface. And I was like, thinking about life and calm and whatever. And then I was like, wavelengths, like, I want to see energy. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm seeing the thing. Like, Isn't that enough evidence of the energy? That energy has manifested itself into an object, not just a represent. Like it was weird. I was like, oh my gosh, it made me feel uh not like I'm from Earth. Like like when I see the moon in the daytime, I feel like I'm on a different planet, and I like picture a second moon, and that makes me feel like, whoa. So I've always liked seeing the moon in the daylight. And then I was like, oh my gosh, my perception is whatever. And I'm not high, by the way. Uh, and it was just so cool that what I think I saw physically was really a representation of energy. Just like they say, the color we see is the one that's not getting absorbed and it's getting bounced back at us or something like that, whatever. So, like it was pretty cool and big, and I was letting my mind just run wild with it, and then I was like, it was fun to think about all that stuff, and then I was trying to stay in the moment as well, and just really feed off that warmth and the dance of the sunlight on the little kiddie pool, and I as I watched the dog go to the far corner and start to get hunchy. And of course, you know what that means. And he turns and he's facing me while he's pooping. And, I didn't see the pile. And I thought maybe instinctually they look for me, or, the people. And we're supposed to look over them to protect them while they're in this vulnerable position. I think I heard that. And so now I'm like, I tell dogs I got their back when they look at me when they're pooping. Now, when they look at me when they're humping, I just think that's a kink. But when they look at me when they're pooping, I think it's for protection. And I'm like, I gotcha. I should come up with something clever when they're humping to say. But they're not going to listen anyway. Our minds are somewhere else. Anyway, so he gets done and he gets up and he takes a couple steps, and then you could just see it. Even before he hunched, there was like a pre-hunch. Anyway, he hunched, did his thing. There was about a thumb-sized poop, well-tapered, that I saw that one, and it came down, missed the other pile. That's not fun for me, as I'm the lawnmower, and probably missed that one for picking up. Anyway, and this dog did a couple wipes of the paws or whatever that is. Totally satisfied. And he's on to the next thing and looking for the toy or whatever. And that thing he was doing that needed to be done, he just did it. And then he was done with it. And I was like, yeah. And then he was in the next moment. And I'm like, man, the awareness and being in the now and whatever. And it was like, it just seemed bigger than just watching a dog take a poop. And this dog is so beautiful. It is a gorgeous lab. Kind of almost has a little wolfy edge to it. There's a little neck hairs that flare out. It's kind of jaunty, kind of big. Yeah. And, but loves to be pet, cuddler, so nice, doesn't jump on you. It's just such a lovable dog, and barks like a motherfucker when people are outside of a fence, a piece of glass, or on a leash. And he hates anything that's not right with him. So it's like, ouch. And that bark is piercing, and it's loud, and he goes from this loving creature to this vicious protector or whatever he's doing. I don't know. I don't want to assign whatever he's doing, but it's sheds like crazy, licks his paw at night forever or whatever, and I accept him 100%. Like yeah, I don't like the barking, but I understand, he's a rescue dog. I don't like the licking. Something's going on, whatever it is. If it's a head thing, that's fine. But maybe there's something in that paw that just we can't find, and it's still there. It's like those poor kids that are like, I don't feel good, and they go to the hospital. We can't find anything. hey, the kid still doesn't feel good, So, yeah. And I was just like, I love this doggy. I love this dog. Like, because I accept this dog for all of it. Like, I am okay with cleaning up the hair. I was going to say happily clean up the hair, but or fur, but it's not super happily, I just, hey, this dog has a lot of fur and likes to get rid of it. And so, yeah, I clean it up. Or someone else cleans it up. Anyway. And live with the barking and the licking because it's just acceptance because that guy accepts us. And so, yeah. So it turned in from, watching some light and watching some light and shadows and little prisms and thinking about energy and watching a dog poop and feeling just the love. What kind of weirdo starts thinking about love after watching dog shit? Anyway, it's me. And I hope you have some beautiful little weird moments like that too.